friends. My name is Steve, and this is Steve Talks Books. Thanks for coming by, watching my weekly update. It's where I talk about what I've been reading, what I'm going to read, what's happening on the channel, and other fun topics, and also a way for me to interact with all of you so we can talk about what you've been reading, what are you watching, what are you listening to. I always like to have that back and forth because I add to my TBR that way, and I can find new things to watch and new things to listen to as well. So for those of you who are new here, I primarily read dark fiction, fantasy, horror, but I am open to any genre, so anything that interests me, I will give it a go. So I do have plans to read thrillers and things and some nonfiction in the next few months. February will be very fantasy heavy for me, so it's like a fantasy February, unintentionally. Fantasy February just worked out that way. So let's start with what I read last week. So last week, I did finish Best Served Cold. It's the first standalone, I guess they're called standalones in the First Law universe, First Law world, whatever you want to call it. Wow. I hate to start on a downer a little bit, but it's probably my least favorite book in that world. I think when we started the First Law trilogy, when you read the Blade itself, the characters and their quirks and their dialogue and the things they do and the things they say and whether it's internal or external dialogue, all of it's really fun. Everything's really, really fun, and it's funny, and everything's really, really, it flows, and it's like, wow, this is really cool, and the characters are really great. And then the second book and the third book, by the time I finished the third book, I was kind of over it. Like, what was funny in the first book, we kept going back to the same jokes and the same catchphrases, and it's like, okay, it's good, but we go back to that same well over and over again, and it was okay. I wanted to move on. Does that make sense? It kind of reminded me of Lego Batman. So for me, when I saw the Lego movie, Lego Batman was hilarious because it was different and it was like a funny take on Batman, and he's really goofy and you got bits and pieces of him. But when you had the Lego Batman movie and it's 2 hours of the same thing, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is kind of boring. So about 100 pages into Best Served Cold, I started to kind of wane a little bit. It started out okay, and I hate to start with this kind of tone, but it was fine. But I think it's a book that could have been 100 or 200 pages shorter and still told the same story. I think there are some really great characters, but just going back to the same kind, and I found that they repeat themselves a lot, and it's like let's let's move on. Let's move on with this. Let's kind of get it going. I think there's some pacing issues in it. I know a lot of people love these books, and I love Joe Abercrombie's style. It was a little too much for me. It was a little like, okay, we keep going back to the same jokes and the same. It's like, I think, in this book especially, Abercrombie reminded me of Stephen King a little bit, because I've gone on the record, sorry, Stephen King fans, about how the tangents that King goes on, it takes me out of the story. So Stephen King will go on these tangents, and it's almost like he's showing off. Like, I am such a great writer, I can take you on the side tangent for so long that really has little to do with the main plot, but you're still going to enjoy it. And those side tangents are okay sometimes. Sometimes they work for me, sometimes they don't. But in Best Served Cold, I started to kind of see the similarity between them, and you kind of like Abercrombie and his action scenes. And for me, action scenes are fine, but when they go on for pages and pages, it's like so. It kind of reminded me of those side tangents that Stephen King does, that he's just showing off. Like, he's just so good at writing these kind of scenes that he just likes to kind of show off, and that's the way it kind of hit me. But we are having a meetup on Yolene's channel. We are reading the standalones. At least that's the plan. I have to talk to Yolene about whether or not she wants to continue, but we will be meeting to talk Best Served Cold on her channel I think it's in 2 weeks. So after Best Served Cold, I did get into Edge of the Breach by Halo Scott. It's the first book in the Rift Cycle series that I'll be reading over the next few months. And this book may be it's probably the most violent and disturbing and unforgiving books that I've read. It is no joke. There's some really dark scenes in it that yeah, kind of caught me by surprise a little bit. There's also some really funny scenes in it, so it rides that line of it plays both sides. On one page, there's really great funny banter, and the next page there's some really terrible stuff happening. So it is I really enjoyed it, and there were some parts that I felt bad laughing. There's some good jokes, and you start to make yourself wonder, because you meet these characters as their children, and you see what they went through and what they've gone through their lives, and these people that they become. One character in particular, and you as they start making that transition to the darker side, and they start doing these really evil things, you think it was because of what happened to them when they were children, and you kind of wonder, you catch yourself giving them a pass sometimes because of what they've been through. So it's one of those that you start to question yourself on, when do you stop giving these characters a pass? I mean, they do some pretty terrible stuff, and there is the story starts to build the world. I think it's safe to say it's more character driven, this book, but you can start to see that it's a 4-book series, so you can start to see it start to blossom. There's a lot more that's going to be explored, and there's a lot of setup for the second book in the last half. And let me tell you, it's not often I'm surprised or shocked while reading or watching a movie or whatever. The conclusion of this book was intense, and it kind of lulls you a little bit. It is full blast almost from start to finish. There are some dips in the action. I think you need those little breaks in between. It's mostly character interactions and kind of setting up the world, but it kind of got comfortable, and at the end, man, pretty intense and pretty very effective. So I'll have a review, thoughts on Edge of the Breach soon, but yeah, I will be discussing the entire series with author Halo Scott when I'm done, to just chat about the entire thing. But yeah, it is definitely grimdark. So this week on the channel, I will be reading Lily by Daniel Barnett. We are meeting next Saturday to discuss all things Lily. It'll be spoiler filled, so if you have not read that series, do not watch that video, because we're going to get into spoilers. We've been meeting every few weeks to discuss each book in the Nightmareland Chronicles, and let me tell you, because I had a lot of people tell me you have to read Nightmareland Chronicles. So we set it up to chat with Daniel after each book. It took, we had to schedule in advance and all that kind of thing. So I was waiting for that to happen. But this series, it is something else. And if you're into horror or even want to dip your toes into it, check it out. And the first book, I was a little, I think I've heard some people say the first book is confusing, and it is confusing. It's a little disorienting. I think that's on purpose to kind of get you, kind of set the foundation for the story. So if you read the first book and you're confused, keep going. And it's not like the gunslinger type of confusion. It's just it's really disorienting kind of confusion. Another positive is they're really short. They're novellas, except for the 6th book, Lily. It's about 400 pages long, but they are quick reads, or really fast reads. After that, I will be starting Gardens of the Moon for the Malazan read that I'm doing with some friends. We are having a meetup next month with a bunch of friends to meet and chat Gardens of the Moon. That'll be happening next week. So last week on the channel, we did have an interview with Sarah Chorn. She's an author, editor, reviewer, blogger. She does everything. So it was really fun to chat with her and learn about Grimdark Magazine and kind of editing, and the whole process is really fascinating to me. So check that out. That is just a quick reminder that those are all available on my podcast as well. If you can't sit in front of YouTube and watch, it's always available on audio, and the links are all down below or on the video themselves. I always add it to the description. Last night we did chat Oh Pain. It's our short story Saturday pick. I did meet with Lauren from Paperback Empire to chat each story of O-Pain. And I'm glad that she read that with me, because these are the stories you want someone to talk about after, because they're so weird. And Lauren noticed things that I didn't notice in these stories, or different perspectives that I didn't think of. And it was a really great discussion. So I'm really glad that she decided to read it with me and chat about it, because it's one of those books I think we'll probably read again and chat about it again. And it's dark fiction, but I'm going to call it like experimental, or it's very unorthodox. It's very different. Very, I don't know if you know, say ambiguous, but there's a lot in these stories that are just a ton of fun to discuss. This morning we had a meetup to talk all things Gunmetal Gods with author Zamil Akhtar. We also met with Taylor from Made Between the Pages, Lana from Lore and Lullabies, and author P.L. Stewart. He's the author of A Drowned Kingdom. We all met this morning. I woke up early, and you should never set an alarm when you're tired at night for the next day, because I set it for an hour too early, because we met at 7 a.m. my time to meet up, and I set it an hour earlier than I should have. And so I got up and I stumbled to my computer, and I realized I was an hour early, so I went back to bed. Made myself some tea and went back to bed. So we did meet and chat all things Gunmetal Gods. It's one of my top 10 of the year. I think it's safe to say. It was a gush fest. But it's funny because we were all over the world. All of us were all different places of the world. So for some people it was 12 at night. For some of us it was 11 in the morning. For some people it was 7 o'clock at night. I mean, we were all over the world, and it's amazing that books bring us all together. Just to, all these different people we would have never met if not for the love of reading, and just wanted to chat and talk books. So it was, you sit back and you think about these things and you think, well, I've talked to people from all over the world, and the thing that brings us together is this love of reading, and just to come and meet up and chat. So it's really amazing. And, sometimes I have to stop and kind of take a step back and say, it's really cool that we can do this. It's really great. So I'm happy to be able to do this, and to be able to meet all these different, just really interesting, creative, talented, friendly, amazing people. So it was a lot of fun. And also, by the time you watch this, we would have already had our Ghost City Girl discussion to chat all things Ghost City Girl. We planned this group read a month or two ago. It's a short book, but I think we all really enjoyed it. So that happened also this morning. I'm talking to you from the past. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. It will be spoiler filled as well. And again, all of these are available on the podcast. And it's not on the channel yet, but yesterday I did have an author interview with L.J. Doherty. He's the author of Beasts of the Caliber Lodge. So we talked about his books, Primal Reserve and Beasts of the Caliber Lodge. We also talked script writing. He's a script writer for a long time, and how he converted the scripts to the books and that process. We also talked movies and writing and a ton of other stuff. So check that out. So that'll be on the channel this coming week, I think on Wednesday. And on Tuesday, I will have my my TBR video. I think Tuesday's the 1st, I believe. So I'll have my TBR video for February, and also be announcing the short story Saturday pick for the month of February. I wanted to do, I'm trying to mix things up a little bit, because I think I could do horror every month, but I'm trying to kind of sprinkle in grimdark or fantasy or other genres, because I don't want to do horror every single month. But I do have a couple of books that I already have in mind that I want to name. So if anyone has any suggestions for books they'd like to have that you'd be willing to read with me and have a conversation on Short Story Saturday, whether it's on the chat or on stream, let me know. And those of you who are interested in joining the streams, all those events are on our forum calendar, so check those out. I will have more. I will have I think this Saturday is the 26th of February, but don't have a time picked out just yet. I'm waiting to hear back from the author if they're able to join us for that discussion. So that'll be happening soon. So my TBR video is coming, the Short Story Saturday. Also, I keep forgetting to announce that, so next Saturday is the Wolves of the Kala discussion. And after that, is the Lily discussion with Daniel Barnett. We're talking all things Lily with Daniel Barnett. But 2 hours before that is the Wolves of the Kala discussion, and I keep forgetting to mention this, but I started this Dark Tower group read, and thankfully so many people wanted to join, and it turned into a really fun thing, and we were switching channels and things like that for the meetups. And after the Wizarding Glass, I threw in the towel. It's just not for me. It's just not my cup of tea. So, it's not anything to do with the work. Sorry, Stephen King fans, hold your comments. It's just not for me. It's not something I enjoy, and I can't get into why I didn't enjoy it. Why Wizarding Glass was the reason I threw in the towel. I can't get into it without getting into spoilers. I don't want to spoil anyone, and so I decided to throw in the towel. Thankfully, Stacy from Stacy's All Booked is taking the baton. She's now the leader of the quartet and will be organizing the rest of the group read. And there's so many people still attached to it that I didn't feel too bad dropping out, but I did struggle with it a little bit. But thankfully, Stacy is really great at all this stuff, and we always do all this stuff together anyway. So she's now the leader, and I have dropped out of the quartet. So as far as new books, no new books this week. I think there's some books that I might be hearing about soon. I've had a couple of authors reach out to me and kind of like, hey, I'll get with you when we're getting closer, kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. I always like to help out, authors who want to help spread the Boost the Signal. Not that I have a big reach, but if I can tell one person about it and they'll check it out, then, maybe it's worth the effort to send an email over to me or let me know about it. So this week, I am feeling a little bit better. I still have this congestion. I noticed that I started riding my bike this week again, and I spend every night coughing. I think it's more productive. So it's getting a lot better than it was. I'm not as fatigued. I'm not as tired, and I'm feeling a lot more back to normal. I don't drag as much as I was. So I am getting better. Thanks to all of you who have sent well wishes and get betters, and it's really appreciated. So thanks all of you for that. It means a lot to me that you guys care. This week I did spend a lot of time getting Facebook set up. Now I've avoided Facebook all this time because of their privacy policies. That they're just out of principle. I've avoided Facebook, and I did use Instagram for a while. I closed my Instagram a couple years ago just because I didn't like the privacy intrusion. I just didn't want to be a cog in their wheel. But everywhere I keep reading is the best place to promote your podcast and your content is on Facebook. So I'm giving it a try. So I finally gave in. I feel really dirty even going to the website, but I did sign up for a Facebook account. I'm not going to be using it for my personal stuff, but I did create a page for the channel. So I do have a page that I have for the channel that I'll be posting updates and stuff on. So I'll leave that down below. So if you're on Facebook, go check it out. I'm going to give it a shot and see how it works out. If it doesn't work out, I'll probably throw in the towel again, but I will be on Facebook and Instagram at least try it out and see how it goes. So let me know if you're on there, if you want to connect with me there on either of those platforms. And remember when I said a few weeks ago that I'm slowing down on author interviews? That was my intention. It was 100% my intention to slow down, and I've had so much fun doing them that I start to reach out, and then I think if I reach out to 5, I'm going to have a few no's. And they've all said yes. Well, the ones that have responded have said yes. I have sent out a few to some that I haven't heard back from, or I can't get in touch with, but all of them that I've had a response from have said yes. There's a few that I am surprised. I'm always surprised when anyone says yes, but I'm on a streak of getting yeses. So I'm really excited. All those are on the forum. All the ones that are planned are on the forum calendar. If you're curious, want to check them out. So how are you doing? Let me know how you're doing this week. What are you reading? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Let me know what you're up to. I think this week we've just been watching Curb Your Enthusiasm, the last season that was released. And we've been watching Oak Island. I've been catching up on Oak Island. The family enjoys watching that together. It's one of those things that, it's kind of a fun thing to watch together. It's pretty interesting, the Oak Island stuff. I don't know if they'll ever find anything, but it's pretty fun. It's pretty interesting. Some history thrown in, and that's always cool to kind of dip your toes into. So it's really I think it's you learn something, even though it's an hour, and a lot of it is kind of crap because it's reality TV. But it's reality TV. What are you gonna do? So let me know what you're up to. Let me know what you're reading, watching, listening to. What have you enjoyed this week? What do you have coming up this coming week? Do you have anything planned? Anything special? Let me know what you're up to. As always, if you want to connect with me, I can now be found on Facebook and Instagram. I'll leave those links down below. Or you can find me on the forum. Is the best place to find me is the forum. We have an event calendar. We have threads. We have sections for all the series, a lot of the series that we're reading, discussions and things like that. So if you want your own section, let me know. I can create it for you in just a few minutes. So that's the best place to find me. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, Instagram now. I'm also on Vero. I love Vero. I wish Facebook, for being around so long, you think Facebook would be easy to use. It is such a pain in the ass to use. And thankfully, Angel from Voices from the Mausoleum helped me a ton getting that set up because it's such a pain in the ass to use. It really surprised me. And a platform like Vero is so easy to use. It's so painless, but that's a whole nother video. So I'm also on Twitter at Steve Talks Books. So connect with me there. That is all strict bookish stuff, as will be Instagram. I might reopen my personal account on Instagram. I'm not sure yet. And on Facebook is all book stuff. On Vero, I post more of my personal stuff, like dogs and what I'm drinking, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, that kind of thing. So connect with me there if you're on Vero. So I also have a blog that I'm posting reviews on, and I'm also a contributor now on another blog that I will be announcing once my first review is posted. But I was surprised when they asked me because I'm not a blogger. That's not my bag. But I write really short reviews, and they reached out to me, and it's like, wow, that's really cool. Are you sure you're contacting the right person? So I will let everyone know when that first review hits, so you can go check it out and support that site as well. I'll be cross-posting from my blog to the other blog, so I have some books to catch up with, and so I have a lot of reviews coming hopefully on that site. So let me know what you're up to. Like I said, as always, thank you for watching. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for interacting with me. That's why I keep doing this stuff, is the interaction. If no one was around, I wouldn't be doing it anymore. So I thank all of you for coming by and supporting me in what I do. It means a lot to me. So again, let me know what you're up to. Comment down below how you're doing, and let's connect. Let's talk to each other. So hope you're all having a great day, and I will talk to you soon.